February 8th, 2007, 10 a.m., the Hard Rock Hotel in Hollywood, Florida. Anna Nicole Smith has just 5 hours left to live. On the last day of her life, she wakes up feeling much better, but she's still very weak. Since checking in 3 days ago, she's been battling the flu. Her high temperature is made worse by another problem, an infection in her left buttock.
She just showed me that, that the side of her body was infected. It looked infected. It was different colors and it was swollen.
A yellowish fluid is oozing from an abscess, a pus-filled sac that's been punctured by a needle. For years, in an effort to lose weight and stop the aging process, she's been injecting human growth hormone and vitamin B12.
Anna has no discipline. Anna hated dieting. Anna hated exercising. She hated all of that stuff. She liked tacos, chicken fried steaks, anything greasy.
During her autopsy, Dr. Joshua Perper, a Fort Lauderdale medical examiner, would discover just how far that obsession with losing weight had gone.
You cannot count them. There were multiple sites of injection. Inside the buttocks, we were able to see the abscesses and the needle tracks.
Vickie was willing to do just about anything in jeopardizing her health to be able to get the money.
The pus is steadily leaking bacteria into her bloodstream. Anna Nicole's body is now battling three things: a flu, an intestinal infection, and blood poisoning.
I walked into the room around 10:30 where Howard and Anna was laying. And I said, I'm gonna go out. I'm going downstairs to eat with my wife. If you need me, my phone is on. And I looked at Anna. Anna looked like she was asleep at the time. So I went downstairs to meet my wife to eat.
No one in Anna Nicole's entourage suspects that her daily regimen of beauty injections is weakening her already frail body. Knowing that she owes her fame entirely to her beauty, Anna Nicole Smith has always been willing to risk everything for her looks. Without her fantasy figure, she firmly believes she is nothing but that very ordinary, very unloved girl from Texas, Vickie Lynn Hogan. 21 years earlier, in 1986, Anna Nicole was a shy, unpopular teenager living with her aunt in Mahia, Texas.
She did not have a lot of friends, Vickie didn't. Most of the time, she liked to stay around the house, and she was kind of quiet to everybody else besides family.
And we registered her in school, and she stayed with her Aunt Kay, but I don't think she went to school more than about 6 months. She went there long enough to get her name and her picture in the yearbook.
Beloved son, Daniel.
She wanted to be able to support her son and be super mom, I guess you can say.
But Vickie Lynn had little to offer. She was penniless. She had no education. She had no marketable skills. With few options, she returned to her hometown of Houston and started stripping.
It was something that I never would have thought she would have done. She was raised different.
I just cannot tell you what a horrible thing it was for a mother to see her daughter in a G-string.
Virgie Arthur decided to take an active role in her daughter's new career. As a deputy sheriff, she met with Anna Nicole's boss, and she laid down the law.
And the manager walks right up, and he says, can I help you? And I said, do you see that child right there dancing for that man? He said, yes, ma'am. I said, that is my daughter, and I want her out of here right now, or I will come in this place every night and cause you nothing but hell. And he said, yes, ma'am. He said, if you'll just go around to the back door, I will go get her and take her out of here for you. And I said, you got 5 minutes.
But what Virgie didn't realize was that Vickie Lynn had found her calling. No one could convince her otherwise. She was simply going to be a star.
She even paid to go to a modeling school, and they told her that she would never make a model. Well, she just quit. She quit. She said, well, they don't know what they're talking about. I ain't paying them that money.
If you told her not to do something, she was going to make it a point to do it just to show that Vickie can do what Vickie wanted to do.
When Anna originally started, dancing here in Houston. She was more small-busted and was a little bit overweight, so she could only get hired to the day shifts.
As a flat-chested 20-year-old, Vickie Lynn firmly believed larger breasts would boost her career.
That's all she talked about. She said she could make more money if she had bigger breasts.
Even though the implants cost a whopping $14,000, she was more than determined to get them. And after 3 years of pole dancing and 2 surgeries, Vickie Lynn finally appeared on stage in 1991, a changed woman, the proud owner of a pair of 42 double D breasts.
Oh, Jesus. They were huge. I mean, they were like 3 times what her normal size was. And she had so many problems with them.
She went back twice, and I think one time they busted in Los Angeles, and so she had to get them put back in there.
The silicone breasts were so large that they soon caused her terrible back pain. To relieve that pain, she began to pop pills, a habit that would eventually lead to full-blown addiction. But to Vickie Lynn, the pain was more than worth it. Soon after her breast augmentation, J. Howard Marshall, an 87-year-old billionaire oil tycoon, fell hard for the voluptuous blonde. After just one date, he convinced her to hang up her G-string for good.
She called him her sugar daddy. I was just shocked at the age difference.
He was good to her. You know, whatever she wanted, he gave it to her. Whatever it was, didn't matter what it was, he gave it to her.
Vickie Lynn's dream had begun. She'd been plucked from the ordinary and placed in a world of wealth and privilege. But this would come at a price.
She'd do anything that the public wanted her to do, to be what she thought the world wanted her to be.
But in 2007, holed up in a hotel room in Florida, Vickie Lynn has nothing left to give the world. In 3 hours, her short, chaotic life will be over. February 8th, 2007, Hollywood, Florida. After waking early to go to the bathroom, Anna Nicole has been asleep for the past 3 hours. In another 3 hours, she'll be dead. At noon, King Eric, a musician friend, and his wife Bridget arrived from the Bahamas to help buy Anna's new yacht.
King Eric always liked to go in and speak to Anna and everything, and at the time, you know, Howard was saying Anna was asleep, so King Eric said, okay, we'll just let her sleep.
And that's when my husband asked me to sit in the room with Anna until he came back. Howard had to go and check on their boat, and my husband was going to help his brother move.
Tasma checks in on Anna Nicole. She's appalled at what she finds.
When I walked in the room, it was a disaster. There was a pillow on the floor. Just the position of the covers on the bed, I couldn't really see her. They were all bunched up against her. And the room was like a train wreck.
The reason why I didn't wake up, because I knew it wasn't unusual or that she would go to sleep at that time of day. This day, this is the thing that bothers me more than anything. Every day since I've been with Anna, I've always went over and kissed her on the cheek and said, look, I'll be right back. That day, I just figured we'll see it when I get back. And I told my wife just to watch her.
Anna Nicole is already weakened by blood poisoning and the flu. And no one knows that coursing through her veins is an unpredictable combination of prescription drugs, including an extremely powerful sedative, chloral hydrate.
Chloral hydrate is nothing to play with. It's a very strong drug. They don't even use it around the hospitals that much anymore. It's not widely used anymore, especially outside the hospital.
Anna Nicole has been consuming toxic levels of chloral hydrate.
The dose which is recommended by doctor is about 1 or 2 teaspoons at one time, and she took 2 tablespoons. And sometimes it was reported that she drank straight from the bottle a couple of times.
In her weakened state, her dosage is highly dangerous. Unaware of the danger, she continues to binge on the very same drug that killed her idol, Marilyn Monroe. 13 years earlier, in 1994, Anna Nicole had realized her wildest dreams. She was in Los Angeles, living in a house that once belonged to Marilyn.
She absolutely loved Marilyn Monroe.
She had it in her mind 16 years ago she was going to be the next Marilyn Monroe.
Anna Nicole had a morbid fascination with anything to do with Marilyn. She often told friends that, just like her, she'd be dead before her 40th birthday.
She had said that before. I want to die naked under the covers, just like Marilyn Monroe, and die on an overdose of sleeping pills.
But at 26, death was only a distant thought. Anna Nicole was on top of the world. She was a famous playmate, a guest model, and, like Marilyn, an actress. Everything was going according to plan.
The first year of Playboy and Guess Jeans, she made $22 million. I mean, she had made it big time.
God, girl, I went with her one time. She bought a pair of shoes for $5,000. I said, Vickie, are you nuts? I said, go to Payless and buy you a pair of shoes and put that money up and save it. She says, Mother, rich people know. I said, how they gonna know? She said, they can tell. I still laugh about that now. $5,000 for a pair of shoes.
Vickie was living the high life, and for a while she took her family along for the ride.
Anna Nicole Smith and her mom, Virgie, back when we met 16 years ago, they were a perfect couple. She wanted her mom around. She was very close to her.
Whenever Vickie went on a trip, she couldn't stand, she was always in a rush. And so she would always fly one of us down with her, and we would carry the bags through the airport. She couldn't stand carrying her bags.
Anna Nicole had reinvented herself, but deep down she still felt like Vickie Lynn, the unloved little girl from Texas.
She told all the family that she wanted everybody to have a tattoo of her put on their body. And if they loved her, they would do that. And I said, Vickie, your mother loves you with all her heart, but there is no way I'm going to have a tattoo put on my body.
I mean, she was more like a little kid, like a 10-year-old. I mean, she loved little. Anna just wanted to.
She couldn't get what she thought she couldn't get at home. She didn't think that her mom loved her.
As her career took off, Anna Nicole shared her good fortune with her family. But money would soon become a source of tension.
The first Christmas that Anna was able to ever really provide for her family, she got her Aunt Kay Bell a car, she got her mother a television. She was so excited to have Christmas at her house. The sad part, after everyone got their gift, they all left. I mean, everybody honestly came, got their gift, and they were gone. And they were probably there 30 minutes tops.
She wasn't really generous with the money, too much. But she did give us money from time to time.
Anna Nicole's wealth was spent on a life of excess, and the drugs were starting to take their toll. In February 1994, while partying at the Beverly Hills Peninsula Hotel, she overdosed on a mixture of prescription drugs and alcohol. She was found in her hotel room unconscious and rushed to the hospital. Anna Nicole's dream was beginning to unravel.
I didn't know how much she had, tampered with drugs. And yet, was it a shock? Yes, it was a shock.
The drug scandal sent Anna Nicole's career into a tailspin. Virtually overnight, modeling agencies and their clients stopped calling. All of a sudden, no one wanted America's larger-than-life dream girl, except one man.
She called me 4 days before she decided she was getting married. And she said, Aunt Lane, she said, I've decided to marry Howard. I need you to find a church.
On June 24th, 1994, Anna Nicole wed J. Howard Marshall. He was now 89 years old. She was 26. Overnight, the mismatched union turned her into an object of ridicule and created headlines all over the world.
He loved beautiful things. She was beautiful. And she needed his support and his income to get where she got. And they both knew. I mean, he was not a stupid man.
But to the world, she was nothing more than a gold digger desperately after a foolish man's fortunes. Ironically, instead of making her rich, the marriage left her broke. 2 weeks after their nuptials, Marshall gave power of attorney to his son, who promptly cut off his father's playmate.
After having all this money monthly come in from J. Howard Marshall, it was a rude awakening to her to realize, she didn't have $25,000 a day to blow.
Even more so when, only 14 months later, Howard Marshall died and a bitter legal battle erupted between Anna Nicole and Marshall's son.
She hated going to court, hated it.
A lot of things came up, a lot of ugly things, you know, different relationships she was in, different things that had happened. And it was, you know, it was making her really look bad.
She hired Howard K. Stern as her attorney, determined to win her share of her husband's fortune. In a short time, Stern became far more than just her legal counsel.
I heard that he moved right on in the house with her, and from that point on, you always saw him with her doing whatever it is she needed done.
In 1996, with legal costs spiraling out of control, she was forced to declare personal bankruptcy. Stressed out, Anna Nicole began to binge on whatever she could get her hands on.
Usually when she get depressed, she would either start eating or she would start drinking, or both. And she just didn't know when to stop.
Within a few years, she'd put on 70 pounds. She'd lost everything: her jobs, her money, her health, and now her looks.
When she would get fat and realize that, you know, she couldn't work anymore, that just drove her crazy. And I think that's one reason that Howard K. Stern came into her life. He must have promised her that he could turn her around and make her, you know, a star again.
With her career on the rocks, Anna Nicole also cut ties with her family.
I believe that she listened to other people's influence and decided that her family maybe wasn't good enough.
We were not allowed, and I'm not just saying me, the estranged mother, the estranged family was not allowed to be around her. None of us.
It was heartbreaking because she had a lot going for her, and the drugs was destroying every bit of it.
But Anna Nicole Smith had not given up yet. In 2000, she and Howard decided to bank on the one thing she still had: her celebrity status. On the strength of that, E! Television put her up in a mansion, and she gave them an eye-opening reality series.
It seemed like that their whole life revolved around that show, and the show was actually very, very hurtful for us to see her in that kind of condition. You could obviously tell she was on drugs and no one could help her. And it was very stressful for us. I'm sorry.
The last 10 years of her life was, I cry when I think about it. You know, she was just an empty shell being controlled. You know, here's a pill, take it and get up and do what you need to do so we can make money, now go back to sleep.
The show was a big hit. Anna Nicole was now more famous than ever. But within a year, viewers grew tired of watching the train wreck, and the Anna Nicole Show was cancelled. Desperate for money, she became the spokesperson for Trim Spa, a weight loss product. In 2 years, she lost more than 70 pounds. After nearly a decade of public ridicule, the former supermodel was again looking great. But underneath the curves, Anna Nicole was hiding a dark secret. Her dependence on drugs was now completely out of control. Her drug addiction will follow her all the way to a lonely hotel room in Florida, where it will finally take away her dreams.